All right, so let's dive into Edmentum. So up here you can see my English 9A course. Now, I know that some of you might be in English 9B, and that's okay. For the most part, everything will look pretty much the same. I want to draw your attention to right here where it has my email address. So if you have questions about anything, you can always email me. You can also send me a message through Edmentum. Though to be fair, when we get a message in Edmentum, we don't get any kind of notice, an audible notice. So I don't always see the messages until later, unless I'm on the main dashboard, and usually I'm in the grade book. So email is a good way to reach me, or remind, but we'll get into remind in a minute. But my email is here. So if you click on all activities, you'll see the class breakdown. I want to point out a few things. So right here, you see the view instructions little link. It has your instructor name, which is me, and then you'll have some details here. Now, given that the same video is being shown for English 9A and for 9B, the Remind code will be different and the Google Classroom code will be different. However, I want to draw your attention to this section because it's always available to you. So once you're at the point where you're going to be joining the Google Classroom and Remind, just know that the information is also here. Same with my telephone number. So if ever you have a question about anything, you can always call or text me, or you can use Remind. Now, going into the actual sections here, if we go to Unit 1, you'll see a lot of content, but you're not going to do all of this content. In a lot of our classes, we'll cover the things that will make one of these assignments exempt. For example, today's assignment, once you complete everything that you need to do for your attendance for today, that will exempt you from having to do course activity A. I'm sorry, the course activity. And that's because we're going to do a lot of this stuff in class. Now, as you notice, we're not live right now. You're watching me do this lesson for you. And so that brings up attendance. So attendance is mandatory for English 9, and it should be mandatory for all of your PACE classes, but definitely for English 9. Now, I know that sometimes things happen. Maybe you work or, a family emergency, and that's okay. We've got you covered. So there are two attendance options. Ideally, you're going to come to class. The live class is always better. It's always easier, and it's more engaging. So the live class, when you come to that, there will be an exit ticket, and it'll be in the form of a discussion. So the prompt will be given in class, and you would complete this as you would any other discussion for another class that you have. Easy. Now, if you can't attend the live class, then you'll have the makeup class attendance. So this will take you to a Google form that is like this one. So because I am actually not here today, I have a meeting. Everybody is doing the makeup class attendance today. So once you complete the Google form and you've done all of the assignments in the Google form for class for today, then this will be marked as complete as your attendance for the day. So this will be exempt, this will be complete. So one or the other will be available to you. All of you will see this. You probably won't see this unless you've missed class, and that's okay. Well, it's not okay that you missed class, but it's okay that you don't see it until you have to do the makeup class. The other thing that I want to point out are the feedback sheets. So I want to put this on your radar, even though you're not going to be doing a feedback sheet until the end of the unit. I want to put it on your radar just so that you know what's coming. You know that you have your tutorials that you're doing in your classes. For example, in Who Are You as a Student, if I go to the tutorial, I know that there will be a point where I am going to be doing some writing. So let's try to just get to that point so that you can see what I'm talking about. One of the things that that comes up a lot. Oh, it's not going to let me go. Okay, so one of the things that comes up a lot is you will have something where or a prompt where there are multiple questions in the prompt. So in this example, in your opinion, what makes a good student? Well, frequently students will start to write things. A good student is one that studies hard and passes tests. Great. And then you move on, except there are other questions here. When you get to college, when you're getting into the higher stakes testing, paying attention to all of the components of the prompt become very, very important. You can easily fail an essay or a test because you didn't address all of the questions in the prompt. So the feedback sheet is going over your tutorials, basically, and making sure that you've answered everything to the best of your ability and giving you feedback along the way. One thing that I highly suggest would be, as you're reading the prompt and you come to a question or something where you are given a directive to do something, highlight it, write your response. The other thing you could do is, okay, so highlight it, list some of the values and the habits that you think a good student has. Copy it, paste it, and then start your response. List some of the values and habits you think a good student has. I think some values that a good student, are good time management, studying for their tests, and not procrastinating. Oops. Okay. Some good values and habits. Okay, so now I know that a good student has art. Okay, so now that I know that I've answered that question, I can get rid of that. And you can just, go on, think about whether you fit that description. If you do, explain why and use examples that illustrate that point. So this is a good example of a question where a lot of times students only answer part of it. They'll think of a description that fits, and they may write about that. They may or may not explain why, and if they do, great, but sometimes you forget to use examples. So it's really about paying attention to what's being asked in the prompt so that you're able to answer everything that's there. Okay, so I'm going to submit this for now. Notice that you'll get your sample answer. Resist the urge to copy and paste the sample answer. I check, I look. I know the answers in the sample answer, and I know a lot of the Google answers. I do check for plagiarism, so just avoid that temptation and just do the work. Use your brain, share your thoughts with me. Okay? So now we get to this point, so the lesson activity. Once you're doing the feedback sheet, the only thing that you're going to need to do, and I'll do another video that will explain this in more detail, but all you need to do is write your name here and answer the question. Which concept or activity was the most difficult for you in this unit? Why was it difficult? Or what do you think would have made it less difficult? Answer that, and then you're going to submit this. I really want your feedback because I want to make things understandable for students, okay? So once you submit it, I will then start step 2. So I will be going through your tutorial and looking at your answers. So you'll get a grade on your tutorials. So this is that time where you're going to want to do your best work. I want to show this to you because who are you as a student tutorial? Look at that. Who are you as a student tutorial? Your academic strengths. Your academic strengths. So in this particular slide, you're having to list from these things, all you're doing is copying and pasting. Oops, copying and pasting them. Reading, I think that's a skill I want to work on. Listening, I'm great at that. Studying, that's the thing I want to work on. So all you're having to do is add it in here. Now, you don't have to stop there. You can add skills that aren't on the list. So really take this time to think about you as a learner. Okay, so then you're going to answer that. On the feedback sheet, what does it say? In the table under academic strengths, enter the skills listed that you consider your personal strengths. I'm just looking to see that you did this. Okay, so just make sure that as you're going through the assignments and you're going through all of your tutorials that you're paying attention to all of the prompts, because at the end I am grading them. So if you've only answered, say, part of the question, you're not going to have enough points in order to have a passing score. And if that's the case, then I will let you know. I'll write feedback on here, so it'll be in a different color so that you're able to see it. You did not say how you would improve. Okay, so it'll have a comment here. You'll see this when you'll say like, oh man, I totally forgot to do that. You'll put a little X so that I know that you fixed it. Once you fixed it, you'll send it back. I'll now change your score. So that's how the feedback sheets work. Very simple, but I want to bring it to your attention at the very beginning so that you're able to get a good score from the very beginning as you are doing your tutorials. Okay. That's the gist of the stuff that you will be doing in Edmentum. Next, let's look at the pacing guide. We want to make sure that you're getting your stuff done on time.